Hi, welcome to Rayo's in Los Angeles. I'm Frank Pellegrino Jr., owner and host, and today I'm going to show you how to make Sunday gravy, and you'll love it. So the first thing you need to do when you're making Sunday gravy is decide upon what meats you want to incorporate. And you have some flexibility. So you can use veal, you can use beef, you can use pork. And so what I suggest is taking a look at the recipe, seeing what you like, and you can add, subtract, whatever the case may be. But what is of most importance is that you find the best quality meats you can, and I suggest going to your local butcher or the butcher in your supermarket. Hey, how you doing? This is what I'm doing. And select the meats that are right for you and make sure they're of the best quality that you can find. And then when you get home, you open up the book or take a look at the recipe that Michelle has provided to you, and you get cooking. It's really simple, it's straightforward, it's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination. The only ingredient that you need to bring to this equation is a big smile and the confidence that it's going to come out great. And it will. As long as you're smiling, it's good. First, put your olive oil in. You add some garlic cloves. I smash them because I believe it releases more flavor as it heats up in the oil. Once that garlic in the pan starts to shimmer, you add your meats, because then you know the oil is at the proper temperature to sear. So you go through the searing process. Once all the meats are nicely browned, you remove them from the oil, set them aside, and then you take 2 cups of water, or depending on how much sauce you're going to make, and you add some tomato paste. You whisk it together in a measuring cup. And then you pour that right into the oil and the sucks and the jus from the meats. And then you stir the sucks to make sure that the pan on the bottom is pretty much clean, so you're deglazing the pan. And once you've done that, you'll add your tomatoes, which are San Marzano, whole peeled canned tomatoes. And you bring that to a boil, stirring frequently. Once you start to see the sauce take its shape and the tomatoes break down a little bit, you'll put it to a high flame. You'll put your meats back in. You bring it to a boil. You let it boil for a few minutes. Reduce it to a simmer. Cover it. And go back every half hour. Look at it. Stir it. If the sauce looks like it's getting too thick, you'll add a little bit more water. You can always add more water. You can't take it away. So do so sparingly. And in 2 hours, you have a beautiful Sunday gravy.
It's hard to believe. I mean, it's hard to believe that your original restaurant is still there after 125 years in New York. But what I also find hard to believe is that it's still a family business which has grown, but it's still all about your family. How do you explain that?
The explanation, believe it or not, is real simple. It's all about one thing. It's about mom and pop. And it's about, you grow up doing something. Like my granddad, who was the chef at Rayo's, who got the 3 stars from the New York Times. She learned how to cook by living with her mom, my great-grandmother. She learned that her job was to be next to her mother, next to the stove, cooking. So in essence, that's all we really knew how to do. And we didn't intend to go out and do it. It just, my Uncle Vincent said, hey, Annie, the chef quit. You want to come in and need a That's how it all worked. There was no aspiration of, it was simple. This is what I do. I'm going to do it. You like it? Great. I want you to like it. It's the best I can do, of course. And somehow that translated, and you were never allowed to deviate from the process or the steps of whatever that recipe is, even though the recipe might not have even been written down. But I would be next to the stove with my granddad in the kitchen at the restaurant. Oh my God. I mean, I get yelled at. I get poked. I get hit with a spoon. No, you don't do it that way. This is the way you do it. And there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, don't ask any questions. This is how you do it. And so ultimately, I think to answer your question is, the restaurant on 114th Street was truly an expression of our households. But you got to keep in mind, our households at the time were tenement buildings. You know, I had 10 people living in my grandmother's and great-grandfather and grandmother's apartment. You know, there's 6 brothers and a sister. And everybody in the neighborhood you know, so everybody's kind of extended family as it already is. And then being introduced to that environment, my own self as a young boy, and growing up in my own family's household, where it was the same thing, the people coming and going, it was as though we had a restaurant in our home regardless, not even knowing we had the restaurant. So it's not about the restaurant, it's about our love of our culture and who we are, and our love of basically, this is all we know how to do, so we might as well do it. People like it, and we can make a living. But it's not about the living part, it's about the sharing part. And we're blessed to be able to make a living from sharing from here.